Yo, I just got done watching this rant video of Bizzy Bone talking about how they weren't mentioned by Big Boy when they were talking about who was the greatest hip hop group of all time. He said that they weren't even mentioned. Now see, that's crazy. That's crazy. See, I grew up being a die-hard Bone Thug and Harmony fan, dude. I've been, dude, I have not stopped listening to those cats since I first heard them back in the day. And Oscar Lopez, you know what's up. You know what's up. You showed me all those damn tracks that I still haven't even listened to. You know what I mean? So you and me, we're all part of that BTNH. Every freaking day, it was just bone after bone after bone. You know what I mean? Like, that's all we listened to. That's all I freaking listen to. And that's still what I play up to this day. Not necessarily their old stuff, but even their new stuff. Sure, the new stuff is nothing compared to like what it used to sound like. But dude, here's the thing. You can't expect them to rap the same way that they did 25 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever. You can't expect them to rap like that. Why? Because they've changed. And I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm saying it in a way where they grew up as men. You know what I mean? So a lot of the things that they say now, rap about, it may not be that thuggish, ruggish shit that we all, grew up listening to and thought, oh, dude, this is sick. You know what I mean? Of course not. It's not the same thing. But that's because they're keeping it real. You know what I mean? Like, they were rapping about the things that they saw or whatever they were experiencing at the time. So times has changed. Times is different now. You know what I mean? We're talking about like a group that's been successful and still carrying out their career up to this day. Talk about consistency. Talk about dedication. That's love for music right there. No matter how old you are, no matter how irrelevant you are, like, you're still doing it. You're still making music regardless. Why? Because, dude, they got respect. They got consistency. They know who the fuck they are. They know what they're capable of doing. With all these other cats blowing up like Migos, they ain't gonna hate on them. Of course not. But the issue is when people like Big Boy and so on and so forth, people who are in the industry, right? Not the artists, but people working within the industry, don't mention them and give them the credit. Like, how do you expect, I'm not saying Migos don't respect them, but just an example, right? Like, like Lil Yachty talking down on like Tupac, saying, man, that's old shit, like, we ain't trying to be part of that, like, people need to get over it, we're not trying to be like them, and blah, blah, blah. Now, to a certain extent, I respected that just because he's being honest, you know what I mean? He's being honest, but he's talking down on Pac. And that, as any true hip-hop fan, is a major disrespect level, major. But how do you expect these new guys to respect those artists when people within the industry don't even respect them themselves? You know what I'm saying? So how are you supposed to expect these guys to be at least respectable to a certain extent when they can't even respect where all of this even fucking came from? You may not have to like Tupac, you may not have to like Easy, you may not have to like Biggie, hell, you don't even have to like Bone. All you gotta do is respect it. Everybody's got their own opinions. There's not one single person that's gonna like every single artist or every single song that you like, or that he likes, or that she likes. There's no such thing. Everybody has their own opinion about things. It's all about just respect. That's all it is. Just respect the cred. Respect where it came from. Because if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be here right now. Like Migos. If it wasn't for Bone, Migos would have never been here doing what they're doing. Maybe, actually, you know what? I'll take that back. Maybe. Just maybe they still would have came out with their, with their style. And honestly, I like Migos. Why? Because to me, they sound like the Bone Thugs now. You know what I mean? Like, we had our originals, our OGs, our Bone Thugs and Harmony. The generations now, they got Migos. You know what I mean? That's how I like to see it. Like, a lot of people, look up to these guys like like a lot of these people, they look up to these new artists like we used to look up to our old artists, our OGs, our vets. Like a lot of people are looking up to Kendrick like we used to look up to Dre, for instance. You know what I mean? But still, just for the record straight, I like Kendrick a lot. I still respect him, right? But I'm just saying, like as an example, like a lot of these new artists that are coming out, people are looking up to them the same way we used to look up to our artists when they were growing up. And Bone, every single member except Wish, has a successful solo career. Every single one of them has dropped albums on their own without the group themselves. I haven't seen Migo do that besides doing features. Now, I'm not talking down on them. I'm just saying, who is the greatest group of all time? I have to say it's Bone. You know what I mean? They're the guys that are still alive, still making music, who were in the studio with the legends themselves. You know what I mean? And now, they may not have been mentioned by Big Boy, but they're being mentioned over there at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Big difference, right? But it's like how he said it. It's like once you're climbing that ladder, you start being mentioned by more important people. You know what I mean? Like you're up there with Metallica. You're up there with Guns N' Roses and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Like big legends. You know what I'm saying? Like that's huge. So who cares if you don't get mentioned by Big Boy and all these other little guys? You know what I'm saying? They're only interviewing the people that's trending right now. That's the problem. And again, that's where the issue comes from, is that the industry people aren't mentioning these people. You know what I'm saying? So it just makes it seem like they were never around. So all this new shit that's coming out, it's actually just reincarnated things that were already laid out freaking long time ago. 90s, 80s, what do you want to, long time ago, man. So, I mean, I don't know, if you want them to know better or be better as an artist, you gotta teach them. You gotta drop some knowledge on these guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Most of these guys just want to make their music and get their paper, and that's fine. Be the greatest. Be better than Bone if you want to. Go ahead. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, you should be thinking like that. That should be your mission. Be the best ever. Be the best ever. But you gotta respect it. You gotta respect it. You know what I'm saying? Kobe, he respects Jordan. He respects him. But it's people within the industry of the NBA that were comparing him to Michael. And it caused like this huge thing where it's like, oh, is Kobe the best player ever? Is he better than Michael Jordan and all that sort of stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the people who are doing that. You know what I mean? They're not giving the respect where it's due. You know what I'm saying? And of course, these guys didn't just blow up out of nowhere, right? The industry introduced us to them, but we didn't have to like them, right? But, we do. It's the people like what they're listening to. People like Lil Xan. People like Migos. People like Lil Yachty. People like Young Thug. You know what I'm saying? People like Lil Uzi. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I got my own opinions. I don't like them, but I can't hate on their grind. No one's stepping on their shit. Go for it. You know what I mean? The world is yours for the taking. Do what you gotta do to get your paper. You know what I mean? And enjoy it. Enjoy it. Because I'm sure that these guys are annoyed by the fact that there's all this dispute going on comparing them to the music that existed a long time ago, right? I mean, how annoying would that be for an artist like them? Like, pretend you're them and you're just out here having fun. You're out here dropping music, you know what I'm saying? You're doing your thing, and then people are just constantly like just talking at your ear about saying like, oh yeah, you're not like so-and-so, you're not like Nas and all that sort of stuff, man. You whack. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to like me. You know what I'm saying? But then yet the public has spoken. I didn't get rich overnight just because. I got rich overnight because you guys wanted me to be rich. You guys tune in and you guys like my music. You know what I'm saying? So It's out of our control right there. They didn't just get famous out of nowhere. We put them on that spot. The industry just introduced us to them and we supported them. So really, who is the one to blame here? And shoot, some people talk smack on the OGs. Like one famous topic that people like to talk about is, like, for example, 50 Cent. 50 Cent's whack. You know what I'm saying? Like, so on and so forth. I'm not gonna go down the list, but people are talking smack on him. Oh, he's just a movie star now and all this and that. I'm like, well, yeah, you've gotten to the point where you have nothing else to prove to people. Like, again, it's all about respect. Like, do I need to remind you guys, he dropped one of hip-hop's greatest record of all time. I should even mention the title, but just in case some of you guys forgot, I'm pretty damn sure that you guys, when you guys were youngin', you guys were bumping that Get Rich or Die Trying album like no tomorrow. I know you guys were doing that stuff. I know it. You know what I mean? In the club, candy shop, Wanksta, and so on and so forth. He gave us all those tracks. We all bumped that. He gave us G Unit. Don't even get me started with that. You know you love G Unit. You know what I'm saying? But now that they're not sounding like the music that's coming out nowadays, now you guys want to talk smack on them. Like, what happened with you? You know what I'm saying? You don't have to like them now, but you gotta respect them, because you know damn well when you were youngin', you were playing that shit like it was no tomorrow. You bought all their G Unit clothing. Well, not all of it, but you know what I mean? Like, there's people that bought their clothing and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, people flaunted that. People were like proud, like, hell yeah, listen to that new G Unit stuff. You know what I'm saying? Popping them things. Same thing with Eminem. Man, that could go on for freaking ever. A lot of people talking down on that Revival CD. A lot of people do. And I will admit it, I was one of them. But I didn't give up on him. I had to go back and play that album so many freaking damn times for me to actually get the damn picture. That is actually like one of the most realest albums that he's put out, because he's being honest with himself, talking about white supremacy and what it feels like to be in his position living in America today. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't dig it, because guess what? We are now in a time where it's all about divide. You know what I mean? We're all being separated by this president that's in the office. Religion, it's dividing us. And so on and so forth. Race, culture, all that sort of stuff. When music had no limits, music is the thing that brought it together. Music had no color. As soon as that white boy came into the game and beat, you know, the black culture in their own game. You know what I mean? Who would have thought that the world's like greatest rapper is not black? You know what I mean? But he fucks with 50. He fucks with Dre. You know what I mean? He fucks with the black community. You know what I mean? He don't discriminate. You know what I'm saying? But we let it get to our heads and we talk shit on guys like that. Like, dude, respect them. You know what I mean? Because he gave us a countless number of like tracks that we bumped again like no tomorrow. And all of a sudden you turn your back on him and say Eminem ain't shit. He ain't shit anymore. Go ahead and put that new Kodak Black. That's real hip hop. Okay. Then yet again, that's hip hop now, actually. It's hip hop now. Because music is constantly evolving, and this is where it's come down to. You don't like it? Oh well, guess what? You still have those old records that you bought a long time ago, right? Play those if you want. Music stays forever. It doesn't have to die necessarily. It dies when you stop mentioning them. It dies when you don't play that music anymore. That's when it dies. And that, once again, that's where the problem comes in with all these interviewers like Big Boy and freaking academics over here talking shit. You know what I mean? That's the problem. It's when y'all stop mentioning these guys. You know what I mean? That's the freaking problem. And that should change, because, again, none of this would have happened if it wasn't for these guys. These guys opened up the doors for these new cats to come in. They laid it out for them. You know what I mean? They're the ones that are giving people the opportunity. You know what I mean? There wouldn't be a Kendrick if it wasn't for a Dr. Dre, for example. There wouldn't have been. You know what I'm saying?